Hi guys, and welcome to the first Decrypting Crypto live stream. Super excited to be doing this. Very excited. I will say that this is the first one we're doing, so there's probably going to be a few little technical hiccups here and there, but bear with us because we do have some good content to get through today. Welcome, Wasim.
Well, thank you, Michael. Looking forward to going live with everyone, and we're going to be doing these on a regular basis. So they're going to be twice a week, every Tuesday at 5 p.m. and every Friday morning at 7:30 a.m. to allow for the Northern Hemisphere to be able to join us also.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's in Australian Eastern Standard Time as well. So wherever you are, you'll be able to join in live for one. And if you can't join in live, you'll be able to watch the replay. So we're going to jump into it. We're going to kick off with the market watch. So this is where we just go through some of the news items that we've seen in the last few days and cover off a little bit on that. So first one's actually going to be, first one's going to be this one here. So the Bitcoin network mining difficulty is at a record high. 31 trillion basically, and what this means is it just makes it a lot more difficult for people to overthrow the network. So it also shows that there's basically more hash power on the network than there ever has been. So that really strengthens the network and stops attackers from being able to take it over, which is great.
Thank you, Michael. And the next one is Rich Dad Poor Dad. Robert Kiyosaki came out on Twitter last week after the major market crash, and he basically said that he's actually looking at buying more Bitcoin. So in this news article, he talks about how he's looking for the price to go down $20,000, where he can back up his truck and buy a ton load of Bitcoin, because he believes that crashes are the best times to get rich. The next one that we're going to be looking at is Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor is from MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy is one of the largest holders of Bitcoin with about 129,000 Bitcoin in their reserve assets. And they've borrowed money on their Bitcoin to buy more Bitcoin. So he's come out and said that regardless of the price, they will never, ever sell their Bitcoin. And they'll even add more collateral if they need be so they don't sell their Bitcoin.
Yeah, awesome. And there's been a bit of a fiasco that's happened with the Terra blockchain. I'm sure you guys have been following it, about how there was an attack on the network, and basically it was one of the most popular cryptos that went to zero. So, and look, I have read some official stuff today on Twitter as well, that they did actually use the vast majority of the reserves to try and prop up the price of the UST stablecoin, which ended up failing. So it's actually led the founder, Do Kwon, to actually look at creating a new blockchain. So basically, they're going to ditch the UST stablecoin because they've kind of come to the agreement or the understanding that it's lost all the trust in the community. But there was a really good developer community around this ecosystem. So they are looking to try and launch that under a new project, and to be able to refund some of those funds to some people that kind of lost out. So yet to be seen as to how they're going to be able to pull that off, but that is something that they are looking at putting together. Cool. Oops. Sorry, just overtook that for someone. Next one's going to be the Twitter highlights, guys. So got one here from Will Clemente. Basically, Will saying here that every peak, a larger share of the global population becomes aware of Bitcoin, and every trough, more of the population does stick around. And that's because they understand that and have the conviction around where Bitcoin's going as a monetary framework. And it's only a matter of time really before it becomes destiny in our view. And look, bear markets, I mean, you could say we're definitely in one at the moment. The question is, how long is it going to last? We kind of had a mini bear market last year for a few months as well. The key thing is to stay interested and for the builders to keep building. That's the way. Keep innovating through the bear markets, and then when the next bull comes around, you're going to get the rewards of that. And it goes the same as if you're an investor. You want to be paying attention, dollar cost averaging into the best projects, and then when the next bull market comes, that's when you're really going to cash in. Alrighty, so.
Thank you, Michael. So continuing in what Michael was saying, and also understanding, for those of you that have been following me for a while, I've reported a lot about El Salvador adopting Bitcoin as legal tender, being the first country. What's great to see is today, El Salvador has invited 44 other countries to come and discuss Bitcoin and how Bitcoin can bring in financial inclusion and really help those that are less fortunate and in disadvantaged situations. So it's great to see so many countries actually looking at Bitcoin and looking at adopting it. So mass adoption is coming, guys, and we've been speaking about it quite a while now. The next one is, which one are we looking at next, Michael? Is it?
And I think it is the Lark Davis.
The Lark Davis.
Just coming up now, mate. Go for it.
Awesome. So Lark Davis is a New Zealander influencer who goes on YouTube quite a lot and does a lot of updates. And he's come out and said that global markets melting down, UST and Luna, which what Michael just spoke about, collapses stablecoin contagion, fears, inflation going nuts, and Bitcoin still worth 30,000 of the $1 billion. So, even though there's so much fear in the market, Bitcoin is still holding pretty strong price at $30,000 a token or a coin. So that just shows you how strong Bitcoin is and how strong it's going to, and it's here for the future. And lastly, we've always got to look at what Peter Schiff is saying. Peter Schiff is a Bitcoin critic, so it's always good to have a balanced view. Now, he's come out and said that Terra Luna provides a perfect example of why you shouldn't always buy the dip. Yesterday's Luna was down 98%. If you bought that dip thinking the crash created a great buying opportunity, you lost another 99%. This can happen to any crypto. It's time to drop Bitcoin and buy gold. Now, you'll see when you follow Peter Schiff, so many people refute him, including his own son. So he's one of these guys that just does not get it, does not understand that Bitcoin is here to stay. Bitcoin, and we're going to cover a story about why Bitcoin network is nowhere near like Luna. So Michael will be discussing that in a few moments.
Yeah, and look, Bitcoin is not like Luna at all, guys. It's definitely not going to be going to zero. So Peter has some good info, especially on like traditional markets and that, but I'll take everything with crypto with a grain of salt because he doesn't really know what he's talking about there. Moving on to the adoption highlights. So recently Germany came out and they published their first nationwide tax guide for crypto. It's very crypto friendly, guys. Like over there's no capital gains tax if you hold crypto for at least 12 months. So it looks like that they are aiming to kind of lead the way in terms of being crypto friendly. So I might have to try and tap into my German heritage to get citizenship over there, I think. Brazil's leading financial broker XP to launch a crypto trading platform. There's heaps of these that are coming out. This is just one of the latest ones, especially in South America. There's a lot of adoption that's growing there. And these guys are going to be launching a digital asset exchange called Xtage, I guess, something like that. So that's an interesting one as well. And also Japan's largest brokerage, Nomura, starts offering Bitcoin derivatives to clients in Asia. And you're seeing this kind of enterprise and corporate adoption all over the place. So it's not a surprise to see these articles coming out. These have been coming out for quite some time, but this is one of the latest ones that's come out and showing that there's positive adoption across multiple geographies as well, which has been pretty cool to see.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. And look, as Michael said, we've seen a lot of institutions adopting Bitcoin. We're starting to see countries adopting Bitcoin. Now, small countries like El Salvador, like the African Central Republic, and it's always important for us to see what's happening because we are in this for the long term. So what we're seeing of late is UAE Emirates Airline is also planning on employing Bitcoin as a payment service. Now, they're not the first airline to do it. The Lithuanian airline, I don't know if I said that correctly, have been accepting Bitcoin payment for airfare since 2019. And now Emirates is looking at doing that. Now, Emirates is a major player in the airline space. And they're not looking just at Bitcoin. They're also looking at allowing people to trade NFTs on their website. So this just shows you guys how much crypto and blockchain adoption is happening around the world. The next one that we're going to look at is the first ever home purchase in Louisiana in America, where they purchased a house with Bitcoin. So this was a house that was purchased. What happened in this story was the purchaser wanted to buy a property using Bitcoin. The real estate said, well, I don't know if that can happen. The seller happened to be someone who's looking at selling his property to buy to get into Bitcoin. So it's a kind of as they say, match perfect match. So they agreed to transact and buy the house for Bitcoin. And the great thing to see here is the whole transaction took less than 8 seconds. Now, compare that to traditional markets and how long it takes to be able to pay for a house. This was done in less than 8 seconds. And the last one that we're going to look at is Warren Buffett. Now, Warren Buffett has been a major critic of cryptocurrencies. He's even called Bitcoin rat poison. And he even said in one of his quotes saying in 2019, I think it was, where he said that if you give me all the Bitcoins in the world for $25, I wouldn't accept it. Now, he's obviously had a change of heart, and one of his investments, Nubank, which is a major digital bank in Latin America, is now offering for people to be able to purchase digital assets through the bank. So this is something backed by Warren Buffett, and he obviously has a big say in what they do, and he's now also accepting Bitcoin, or accepting digital assets and cryptocurrency. So this shows you guys that this is here to stay, and the adoption is so great, regardless of what the market is doing right now. We need to be looking at this long term.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. So segment on Breakout of personal updates, Wasim. I think you were going to cover a few things for us today.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to cover too much on what we're doing so far in Breakout. This is the first time we go live. Now, the reason why we've created this Decrypting Crypto live stream is because we've launched a free Decrypting Crypto course, which is available for anybody to go on. Just go www.decryptingcrypto.com. Register for the course. You'll get a free course that gives you fundamentals of what cryptocurrencies are, why we believe they are the way of the future, how they're going to change the world, and then you get access to our weekly newsletter where you can get updated of what's happening every single week. You also get access to our podcast that we're going to be launching very soon. You'll get access to our weekly market update, which is done by Michael and Matt, who's one of the other coaches, which you're going to meet in a few moments. Plus, you get expert events. And with this Decrypting Crypto stream that we started today, we're going to be discussing everything that everybody needs to understand and make crypto easy, because we understand that most of us are busy and a lot of people are interested in crypto, but there's a barrier to entry believing that crypto is about spending hours and hours online. And we want to make it as simple as possible for anyone to be able to invest and profit from this space in the long term. So go to www.decryptingcrypto.com, take the offer, join the course, join our community where we give constant updates and can learn about cryptocurrencies, NFTs, blockchain, what's happening in this space.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Thanks for that. So next one is we're going to move on to the market watch. So, guys, I'm sure you're aware of the Ukraine war that's been going on for quite some time, and each kind of dragging out is not actually the best for markets and asset prices. So it is putting quite a bit of pressure on the euro, which in turn is kind of also contributing to strengthening of the US dollar. So it's throwing out the markets a little bit. You also have the Chinese economy that's struggling quite a lot as well. Had some pretty bad COVID outbreaks, and they've gone into some draconian kind of lockdown measures. So just not good for logistics and the supply chains. That's also putting a bit of pressure on markets as well. Then you got the Federal Reserve that's starting to rise interest rates, which is traditionally not good for risk on assets. So that's part of the reason why you're seeing the stock market struggle, equities, S&P 500, whatever it is, pretty much it's down on average. And Bitcoin has traded very correlated to the stock market for quite some time now. So, it's kind of being affected by that as well. And look, in my view and in the view of most of us here, we are going to see some continued headwinds for risk on assets like Bitcoin and crypto, probably at least over the next 3 months, even potentially the rest of the year. So, the bear market could continue, could extend, but you've got to remember, as I mentioned before, that you can make money in bull markets, but the generational wealth is made in bear markets. So don't lose interest because your portfolio is down, 40, 50% or anything like that. So we're going to bring in Matt here. So Matt is our resident head technical analysis analyst, I should say. And he's going to go through some of the charts and just run you guys through what he's seeing at the moment. Go for it.
G'day guys, thank you Michael, thank you Wasim. Well, basically, I don't need to really tell you too much about what's happened in the last week. I think everyone's portfolio speaks 1,000 words. But basically, what we can see here on this Bitcoin chart is what's called the logarithmic curve. Whenever we hit the upper band, it tends to be the top or cycle of the market. And you can see back here in 2011, 2013, 2017, and recently here in 2021, that we basically hit the top end of that logarithmic curve. That's obviously been the best time to sell Bitcoin, so dollar cost averaging out. But the most important thing that we see now is we're close to approaching the green part of the band, which has always been the best part to or best time to buy Bitcoin. Now, in saying that, I do not personally believe that Bitcoin has reached its ultimate bottom. Because as you can see, not only have we not reached the green line here, but a lot of my other indicators that I use for trading haven't indicated at that bottom. It seems to be a short-term bottom. I do believe that we have the potential to go back up to at least $40,000, but I do think that Bitcoin will eventually roll over and hit between $18,000 to $24,000. Personally, I have a lot of buy orders set for around there, dollar cost averaging in every sort of $500, and then that'll help me ride the wave for the next bull run. Now, when will the next bull run obviously commence? Well, these blue vertical lines are when we have had the Bitcoin halving. So when the miner's profitability is halved. And right now, the next one is approximately in January 2024. And we tend to see the commencement of the next bull run occur about 450 days previous to the preceding, obviously, halving. You can see back here in 2015, we hit a low of around $200, and it took us about 427 days until the next halving, which then obviously had that exponential growth that some of you may have witnessed back in 2017. Back in obviously 2019, we hit the low. It took us about 455 days till we then commenced that bull run up to about 70,000. So I do forecast the Bitcoin bottom to happen around about September, October this year. So that's why I have buy orders set at those targets that I just mentioned. So look for obviously a change in market structure around that September, October mark. If we now look at the Bitcoin dominance, we can clearly see that Bitcoin dominance has obviously broken through this trend line that we have had. Basically, once again, you can clearly see in the market that the altcoins have really suffered this past week. And it doesn't mean that everyone's selling out of crypto. It just basically means that they're probably funneling a lot of their profits, or now whatever is left of their crypto, into Bitcoin. So therefore, Bitcoin is not losing a percentage as much as the altcoins. And that's obviously been seen in previous history, where we see most altcoins lose between 90 to 98% of their value during the bear market. Obviously, Luna is a bit of an exception where it's completely been wiped out over this last week. But I do feel like there's going to be some really extreme bargains to be had over the next few months. I'm definitely looking at some blue chip altcoins, Ethereum, Cardano, as some of the gaming portfolios, gaming tokens that we are going to talk about a little bit later. Now, it's not just the crypto market that is obviously suffering, it's also all the major markets. We can see here, if I just throw on my 200 weekly moving average, that even the S&P 500, which is one of the main stock exchanges in America, we are coming down quite aggressively. I do think that we will find support around that 3,400 mark-ish, and possibly even come down to the 200 weekly moving average. Now, this is something that has been in the making for quite some time. We can see that ever since the Corona dump that we've kind of gone on this parabolic rise, not just in the American markets, but all markets, even the Bitcoin market. And just to give you an indication of the S&P, it's gone up 630% since the COVID crash. It's not really healthy. We haven't really had any corrective drops except for back here that allow people to jump back into the market. And markets need a correction to give retail and all other whales, for example, the opportunity to get back into the market in order to continue the charts moving up and to the right. And look, Bitcoin has shown itself, if we quickly go back to the Bitcoin chart, that it is a stable asset and it's always going to continue moving up and to the right. Okay, it will have some dips, it will have some crashes, but that's just part of the ride. So if you're someone that has obviously had a big loss in these last few months in regards to your portfolio, they're not realized losses unless you are selling. So personally, I'm just dollar cost averaging back in and just buying Bitcoin and some of the big blue chip altcoins to hold for the next bull run. Lastly, we can see the DXY, which is obviously the US dollar index. And basically, it has a negative correlation to Bitcoin. So whenever we see the DXY go up, we tend to see Bitcoin go back. Now, I do think that the DXY has obviously broken this trend line. I do think it needs to come back to test this trend line. So I do foresee Bitcoin making a move over the next week or so, back up to, like I said, that $35,000 to $40,000 range, whilst the DXY comes back down, tests this trend line, and then most likely will continue to the upside, whilst then Bitcoin rolls over and goes into those low 20s, as I believe it will do.
Awesome. That's really good, Matt. Thanks for that. And look, Matt's also our head of our NFT division as well. So you might as well roll straight into the NFT update, mate. Yeah,
sure. So NFTs have basically followed the token market, where I think, they have all had a major pullback. So you still see some really good price stability in the, the blue chip ones, CryptoPunks, Yacht 8 Club. Geez, it's hard to say that sometimes. But those are sometimes quite priced out for retail investors. They have sort of come back, like I said, 20 to 30%. I am keeping my eye on some more affordable tokens that I do think have great potential. Obviously, we share those with our Millionaire and Billionaire Club members, but I still think there's some really good opportunity in DeFi gaming, even like just Sandbox and Decentraland, which are probably the blue chip tokens, gaming tokens out there. We do have a few more that we are looking at that's in our gaming portfolio here at Breakout Solutions, but I do think they are great long-term holds. So I do have Sandbox, token Sand, and also Decentraland token Mana, and I do think they're basically good holds for the future because they've shown great potential in this bull run, and I think we're just scratching the surface with those gaming tokens as well.
Did you want to talk about the Dreadies AMA?
Yes, so we do have an AMA this evening, guys, that we'd like to invite you to. I did post about it earlier today. Michael's got the registration link just popping up now. It is at 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time this evening. You can obviously register with either the link on the screen or scroll up above this, below this video on today's earlier post. It's usually obviously just to our closed members, but we'd like to give you guys the opportunity to jump on, see what it's like to work with us, because obviously we do a lot of AMAs with potential NFT collaborations with businesses that we feel are going to do some great things in the space. Obviously, being a bear market, this is the time that I personally am investing, not only in tokens, but also NFTs. So if you want to see how we work with other companies, how we sort of get those blue chip, insider sort of knowledge about which tokens to get into and which NFTs we are investing in early on, because obviously now is the best time to get in, then feel free to come join us so you can come check out how we do things and how we sort of, go through businesses and with a fine-tooth comb to see why we work with them and their potential, obviously, in the near future.
Awesome. And you can stay on the line, Matt. You don't get away too easy, because look, every Tuesday, guys, we're going to bring on a guest for a kind of 4 or 5 minutes and just learn a little bit about them, what they're doing in the space, bring some nuggets to you guys, and bring a lot of extra information. So this week being the first one, we thought we would share a little bit more information about Matt, or at least do a bit of an interview on him. So as I mentioned, he is our head technical analyst. He's also one of our coaches. He's our head of the NFT division. Matt is a bit of a jack of all trades. So Matt, why don't you tell us a little bit about your story? Like, what's some of the background and how'd you get to where you are today?
Yeah, sure. So basically, I was a gym owner for 8 years, living in Sydney. Heard about obviously Bitcoin a long time ago. I think it was 2015 when it was trading about $300. Didn't know how to get in, didn't know how to set up a wallet, didn't know what exchanges to buy it on. Didn't think about it till about 2017. It was mentioned to me again. Bought my first 2 Bitcoin at roughly about $5,000 each. Rode it all the way to $20,000 US. Thought it was going to $1 million then. Knew nothing about markets. Had no education. Saw that money go all the way back down to, I think it was 3,000-ish a coin when we hit the bottom in 2018. Thought it was dead. Didn't look at any YouTube videos. Just thought that this was an asset that was just on an exchange. And it wasn't until April 1st, I think 2019, we had a spike up. YouTube started going crazy again. I started diving into the space. I got into trading. Got really lucky because obviously I was just watching people on YouTube, following what they were doing. Then lost a lot of money trading and decided, hey, maybe this is something that has potential. So whilst I was still running my gym, I had another business going. I started trading, started doing really well, decided to sell my gym and finish up my other coaching business and went full into trading. Have been trading now since 2018 full time. And then obviously I met you through Wasim, who was a client of mine. Obviously we connected right off the bat, and I decided that it would be really good to get to join a team again and work alongside other people, because sometimes being a trader can be very lonely in front of a screen and just talking to yourself each day. So the opportunity came up where I was able to sort of join Breakout Solutions, really talk about this new entry-level program that we have, Decrypting Crypto, because I myself, and I'm pretty sure you were both beginners at one stage, and we just didn't know how to get started. And I think that's really important to know about the safety of crypto, hackers, what platforms are safe, what's not safe. And I think that because there's not a lot of great information, there's a lot of misinformation, but there's also information from international influencers that may not apply to Australians or New Zealanders and so forth. I think that it's really a great opportunity for us to help educate people in the space with obviously the products that we deliver, but also just how easy we are to connect with and also communicate with, because we have our Slack group for our members to always talk to us and reach out to us if they need help, because that's the biggest thing is whenever you need help, usually someone's like, hey, just go watch this and figure it out yourself. But I think we have a really good opportunity to help people hands-on, and that's where I think there's the opportunity to help a lot of Australians and also international people that just don't know how to get into crypto safely.
Yeah, awesome. Wasim, did you have a question for Matt? Oh, your audio is not coming through. Oh, try again.
I'm muted. Sorry, I was muted. I don't necessarily have a question for Matt. I do have a comment, which is, every time I meet someone in crypto and I find out their story, there's so many people with very similar stories. We heard about it early on, in the early 2010s, early in the, oh baby, I'll feed you soon. And then we didn't get involved. Then we got involved in 2017. We made a bit of money. We lost a bit of money. And what the great thing is, and I think what most people who haven't got involved in crypto yet is, if you just get in and just stay there and just do the work, learn, understand, we've all made our mistakes. Matt had lost money in trading in 2017. I lost money in 2017. Michael's got his story where he lost money in 2017. But over time, we just kept on learning, kept on educating ourselves. And now we see the potential of the future of what it's got to offer. And I love how most of us have come from very similar, like diverse backgrounds, but have very similar stories of how we got the crypto bug. So thank you for sharing that, Matt. And I'll ask you one question. What is one thing that if you could do different, if you were to go back to 2017, what's one thing you would do different to maybe have a better chance of success?
HODL. Just believe in the project. I think Bitcoin is way too big now to fail. 2017, I didn't know that. When I went through the from 20,000 to 3,000 crash, I didn't know about the community. I didn't know how many people were in there. I didn't know about hash rate. And those are all things that I've learned about. And now when I see a huge crash, instead of getting scared and selling out of fear, I see it as an opportunity. And that's the mindset that I had to really train myself. And it's not till you go through a few crashes that you just can swallow it and just go, hey, this is just a great opportunity, rather than freaking out and selling at a loss, or selling low and then buying back high because you're FOMOing back in. And that's a big mistake that I know a lot of people do, because I did it myself. And that's just definitely one thing that I wish I had done. If I had hodled all the Bitcoin that I'd purchased, I'd probably be sitting on around 10 to 15 Bitcoin right now. And if you look at the price, obviously it's not flash right now. But if you think about it, the height of the market, and with the knowledge that I know that Bitcoin is going to hit $1 million right now in the future, it kind of leaves me with a bit of a sour taste in my mouth. But so is every other big Bitcoin whale. When they were donating thousands of Bitcoin back in the day when they were $1, I'm sure they'd be thinking, taking that back now, knowing what they see in the community and in the space, because it's growing exponentially. And only 1% of the entire global population is in crypto. So we have 99% of people that just have not yet, dipped their toe into it. So there's just huge potential.
Yeah, I'd echo that, guys. That was probably my biggest lesson as well from 2017, 18. I did go away from the space for 18 months to 2 years, focus on some of the other businesses. But then when I came back in 2020, I had some projects that just went bonkers. And so part of the reason why we teach what we teach is to research good projects, buy them and hold them. And if markets go down like they do now, dollar cost average, accumulate more of that, because then when the next bull run comes, that's when you can cash in. So guys, look, in the interest of time, I think I'm going to wrap this up. So it's been a really interesting first session. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for everyone, all the viewers, for joining us as well. And anyone who's watching the replay. Look, again, we do these. We are going to do these every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, and Friday mornings at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So mark those in your calendar or just watch the replays. But yeah, looking forward to delivering more of that. So we'll wrap up, guys. Anything you want to wrap up on there, Wasim?
No, just don't forget to grab your Decrypting Crypto pack at decryptingcrypto.com, and we'll see you guys on Friday.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Bye, guys.